Chocolate milk, dude, look at that. Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be tearing apart the rear differential of this 2017 Ford F-150. We suspect that we have a bad pinion bearing. That's a key indicator when you hear the humming and the noise. All right, the differential that's in this Ford F-150 is a Super 8.8. We've noticed it's a very common problem that we see these pinion bearings going out. Now, as you see, the customer has some oversized tires. We're gonna, again, tear it down and see what we can find. Join us. All right, guys, so if you look, these Ford trucks have this spline socket. You can see we have a kit with the different size splines. Found one that fit, so we're gonna go with that. All right, it's gonna be a 13. So first you're gonna take these clips off for your ABS sensors. Take note of where the studs are, so 1, 2, and 3. The cover was hard to get off the last one. Well, there's no reason to bore y'all. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Got it, man. Oh, look at the oil.
It looks bad.
Oh, one of the worst I've ever seen. Now that's some chocolate milk.
Shit, it smells horrible.
Chocolate milk, dude, look at that.
It's like,
Shoo. 2017 Ford. Damn. All right, when taking the drive shaft bolts off, the bolts that are in it is a 12 point, so you can use a 12-point wrench. That's a number 12 wrench, and that'll help you get those drive shaft bolts off a little easier. Sometimes you need to grab maybe a metal hammer and give it a little tap to break that loose, and then they'll come right off. Make sure it's a 12-point solid wrench and not necessarily a speed wrench ratcheting, because you can damage your ratchet wrench. And also the ratchet wrench is a lot wider than the thinner 12-point solid wrench. So just keep that in mind. Once you get them bolts loosened up, don't be scared. Grab that pry bar, grab a hammer, and get after it. Knock the drive shaft right off, and it should pop right out. All right, so if you just take your bungee cord, find you a good place to secure it under the truck, lift your drive shaft up, and then probably gonna have to make a second round sometimes to secure it, and then rehook it. And there you go, your drive shaft's out of the way so you can work. Okay, so let's move to the rear differential. Mesh is going to remove the bolt that holds the cross pin inside the carrier. Once you release that bolt, then the cross pin will come out with ease. Okay, next up we're going to remove the C-clips. What you're going to do here is you're going to push the axle shaft in all the way. That way you can access the C-clips. Once the C-clips are exposed from both axle shafts, you're going to grab you some needle nose pliers, and then you should just be able to give those clips a tug and they should come right out. Once you get both C-clips removed, the axle shaft should pull right out. Okay, come do this side. Now grab an 1/8" socket, your impact, and you're going to remove the nut that's holding the yoke to the pinion. Now for this step, we found it much easier to use a jaw puller. There's multiple ways to remove the yoke from the pinion. You can even use a hammer, but typically this jaw puller will take it right off. While we continue to get this yoke off, let me tell you about our new monthly membership that we're excited about. For only $2.99 a month, we give you live mechanic support through forums and active online help when you need it the most. Stuck on a project? Let us help. Be sure to join and you won't be disappointed. Next, we're going to remove the traction control sensor plug. You're going to grab a screwdriver, push lightly on the top clip, and then give it a slight tug. It should come right out. Next, we're going to remove the bearing caps. You're going to grab your 15" socket, put it on your 1/2" drive impact, or your manual tools, whichever you prefer, and then remove the bearing caps on both the right and left side. Be sure not to mix these up. They need to go back in the same way you removed them.
It just came out.
Now that the bearing caps are off, we can remove the carrier. Sometimes, depending on the shim thickness, it'll come right out. Other times, you might need to use a pry bar, give it a little tug, and pry it out of there. I'm guessing that that's what contributed to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Are y'all still with me? Next up, we're going to remove the seal on the back of the differential. Mesh has built this long extension seal puller. It works way better than the ones we bought from the store. They just didn't have the right amount of leverage to get that seal pulled out. This thing works wonders. All right, guys, take a look at the rear pinion bearing. If you look closely, you'll notice some scarring. This is more than likely due to the failure of the bearing and from excess water in the differential. As we know, water and oil don't mix. All right, guys, now we're going to prepare the differential to install the races. You want to give it a good cleaning. We use brake clean and blue shop towels in order to mop up all the old oil that's left and any debris that could be in the housing. All right, now you're going to grab the tool of your choice, whether it be an air hammer or a manual hammer, and we're going to knock the existing races out. Make sure you get both races, the rear race and also the front pinion race. There's notches cut out specifically for this, so you can put your air hammer in the groove. All right, so now that the differential's cleaned up, we're ready to get our races installed. First, you want to make sure that all the debris is out of the housing. This could hinder the race from going in smoothly. Now grab your race driver and a hammer. This is where we're going to seat the race inside of the housing. You can also use an air hammer. Just make sure you're careful not to scar the housing, as this could prevent the bearing from rolling smoothly. All right, guys, I hope you're keeping up with us so far. So now that we have the races installed into the differential, we're going to put the new bearings on the pinion. We're going to put the bearing and the pinion shim and compress them in a press. All right, guys, next up, we're going to go ahead and remove the bearings off of the carrier. You notice Mesh is using our ARB bearing puller. This is a real handy tool if you plan on doing differentials, even if you plan on doing your own. Man, this thing is awesome. It just rips those bearings off and saves them from damage. Okay, we got one bearing removed. Now we're going to remove the bearing on this side. Hopefully it removes just as easy as the first side. you got in there, Mesh? Pizza? No, just a bearing heated up, ready to go on the carrier. This is how we like to put the bearings on anyway. Spin it. Shoot, yeah. All right, Mesh is installing the bearing, the oil slinger, and then he's going to install the seal. We like to put RTV on our seals. We have yet to have a leak, but we do know it's a lot of controversy on our YouTube channel. A lot of people disagree with the RTV, but hey, we're going to continue to keep doing it. Just think of the RTV as an added layer of protection. It keeps the oil in the differential and outside the environment. Right, we got the yoke. We're gonna go on with it. Mesh has the pinion in his hand. He's gonna stick it through from the other side along with the crush sleeve, the bearing, and the shim. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide the yoke on the pinion shaft, and then we're gonna try to hammer it on there to get it started so we can start with the nut. Ready? So we got it on there just enough to where we can get the nut up. All right, we got a brand new nut. It's gonna go on the end of the yoke. We're gonna run it up with the impact until we can't anymore. And then we're gonna show y'all how to crush the pinion crush sleeve. We're gonna see if we got enough to grab the threads, and we do. It started good. And we're just gonna run it up. Check is keep checking to make sure it hasn't drawn all the way up. What you're trying to do is get all the slack out of it. That's about all she'll go. And now we're gonna crush it with the hand tools. We got a long breaker bar here. We also have a cheetah pipe that's gonna hold back up on our pinion tool that we made. If you're interested in that pinion tool, be sure to reach out to us. It's way sturdier than any of the ones that we've dealt with. We have it slotted in special holes to where it is universal. We've used the other ones. One of them from Bleepin' Jeep wasn't the best. It worked great, but we broke the stem here. So we made this one a little bit thicker, and we haven't had any issues with it. We're going to use the slotted holes, and you can see it goes right around the center of the shaft, or the center of the yoke. Mesh tighten them up with 2 bolts. And he's going to put the cheetah pipe right here to hold back up as I tighten the nut in order to get the right specs for the crush sleeve. You can look in the manufacturer's manual or the aftermarket gear manual. It'll have the correct pinion preload that needs to be set for the crush sleeve. All right, so we're just gonna put it on here like so. Make sure it's in there real good. You see Mesh got the cheetah pipe to hold against it so that it don't slip. This is where sometimes you're gonna have to put out because it takes a lot to crush these sleeves. What we're going to do is we're going to continue running it up slowly until we don't have any more slack. So Mesh is going to pull the, still just a hair of play in there. Okay. This one here should get the slack out. Okay. All right, slack's out. Feels good. The bearings are turning good. So now we're going to run it up slowly, making small increment adjustments. Because if you turn it too much, then what will happen is you'll overcrush that sleeve and you got to pull everything back down and put it all back together. And that's what we don't want to do. It's starting to get a little bit tighter. What we want to do now is we want to take our hammer and seat the bearings by good hits on the yoke. Now that I know it's starting to get a little tighter, I'm just going to go very small. Oh, that's all I need right there. And we'll check it. Oh, it's getting tight, Measure. Might want to check it right there. Not going to be there, but at least we'll know where we at. This is rotational torque wrench. This is a snap-on. Make sure you don't use the clicker style because this is rotational torque. So it's measured via how much it takes to turn the bearings and the yoke. So there's the dial indicator. You're gonna stick it on there. You're gonna rotate it. May be hard to see with the camera, but if you look here, we're roughly about 10 to 12 inch-pounds. So we're gonna just bump it up in slow increments until we achieve the right spec. But we can go ahead and make another little small adjustment because we are only at 12. We know we'll be more than that for sure. Every vehicle is different. So what I like to do is get the wrench a little closer. That way I can only make small, very small adjustments. Okay, that right there is probably gonna be pretty close to what we need. It's a lot tighter. Feels great. I'm gonna give it some good hits. Go ahead and check it. 22 to 23, which mesh confirmed we're right in spec. All right, guys, we can go ahead and remove our pinion torque tool. All right, guys, I hope you stayed with us. We've made it this far. It's time to get that carrier put back in with the brand new bearings. We're also gonna put our shims, and then we're gonna go ahead and prepare to run a paint pattern. We're gonna paint the teeth of the gears and see exactly where our pattern lays out. This will tell us what kind of adjustment we need to make, if any at all. Remember, you have backlash as specs. That's the carrier from left to right. And then you also have pinion depth, which that's the depth the pinion goes into the ring gear. Now we'll finalize our setup by torquing the bearing cap bolts. In our case, the torque was roughly around 75 foot-pounds. Okay, here we're gonna use the gear tooth paint. We're gonna paint about 4 to 5 teeth, and then we'll run a pattern. All right, Mesh, let's read them and weep. Hey, one important note. Be sure to apply pressure to the ring gear when you're running a contact pattern. That way the gears can mesh properly and show up noticeably on the ring gear. Back. Front. Come all the way. All right, now that we got our acceptable pattern, we're gonna go ahead and put the shafts in. We ended up sticking with the original backlash. Seemed to be the best setup. Mesh is gonna put the shafts in. As he puts the shaft in, you'll see it come in here. All right, there's the shaft, and then we're gonna put the other side in, and then we'll put the C's in. All right, there's your C-clip.
Which one are you doing first, this side?
Yeah, I'll do that side.
Right.
Nope. All right, once you stick the C in, Mesh is gonna pull that shaft back, and then we're gonna do the other side. Stick the C in.
Really?
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah. This in there?
All right, both C's are in, huh?
Yeah.
All right, now he's gonna put the cross pin.
Let's see.
Perfecto. All right, and then what wrench you gonna get to tighten that down? 5/16 to tighten that cross pin bolt down. Gotta be Careful that you don't snap the bolt. You don't want to over tighten it. Just enough to where it's tight and secure. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. We're going to get the brakes back on, we're going to get the drive shaft back on, and then we're going to test everything out. But it looks like a success on rebuilding this Super 8.8 differential on a 2017 Ford F-150. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you like the videos to keep us making quality content.